Subcontracting is not a dirty word, it's not a bad thing, and it's not about selling the job to the cheapest bidder on Craigslist. Subcontracting, when done right, is an incredible win for you as the business owner, a huge win for your subcontractor you're working with, and it's a win for the customer. But most people aren't doing it right, and most people are thinking about it wrong. In this video, we're gonna talk about how I think about subcontracting and how we do it in a way that's a win for us, a win for our subcontractors, and a win for our customers. We're gonna cover why subcontracting and the benefits of it. We're gonna cover how to recruit great subcontractors, how to retain great subcontractors, and how to build long-term thriving relationships with your subcontractors. All right, so first, why subcontracting? There's 5 main reasons that I wanna give you for why you should subcontract. The first is equipment. When you're using subcontractors, you don't need to buy or maintain equipment. That is automatically delegated to your subcontractor, saving you in the equipment costs, but also saving you the thought and the time and the energy to maintain and manage your equipment and set expectations to make sure no one's breaking your equipment and deal with your equipment when it breaks. It immediately takes that off your plate from both a time perspective and a financial perspective. Number 2, you can scale your crews faster. All right, so when you're building employee crews, and if you want to bring on 6 more painters, you've got to go out and recruit 6 more painters, train 6 more painters, equip 6 more painters. If you're using subcontractors, there's a lot of subcontractors out there who have 6 guys, 8 guys, 10 guys, some have even more than that. So you can recruit 1 great subcontractor, and now you've got 6 guys, and all the equipment's there and everything's done for you, so you can scale a lot faster. Number 3, training. First of all, you're not supposed to provide training to subcontractors legally because that starts to make them employees. But more importantly, you don't have to provide training to subcontractors. It's already implicit that that has been delegated to the subcontractor you're hiring, that they are going to be responsible for training and making sure their guys are doing great work. And because you're paying them for fulfilling the contract you have with a customer, they're only going to get paid when they fulfill the contract with the customer. They have to make sure they deliver on that. They have to train their guys and they have to deliver or they don't get paid. So this is another way that you can start to delegate training off of your plate on your subcontractor's plate. Now you might say, hey, but there's some subcontractors that don't do a great job and don't train their guys well. Like, great, don't work with those ones. And that's why we'll talk about recruiting them in a minute. Number 4, it's simple to use subcontractors. When you're using employees, you've got all kinds of different things you need to deal with, including just simply the paperwork, managing the payroll, managing timesheets, managing overtime, and just all the legal stuff that has to do with managing employees. With subcontractors, it's really simple. They fill out a W-9 form, they give you their insurance, they sign your subcontractor agreement, and you're in business. When they finish a job, you simply write them a check. At the end of the year, you send them a W-9. You don't need to worry about keeping them busy every single week. If you've got a gap in the schedule, they'll find work somewhere else. So it takes a lot of stress off you as the business owner to make sure that you don't have to have this perfect schedule. Simplifies paperwork, simplifies paying people, and overall simplification means you get more time back to do the things that actually grow your business. Number 5, seasonality. In most markets around the country, there is seasonality. If you look at the cold markets, it slows down in the winter. If you look at the really hot markets, it slows down in the summer. So there's a lot of seasonality in this business almost no matter where you are, including just the holidays are seasonal everywhere. And when you're running a seasonal business and you're using employees, that means if you want to capitalize on the demand, you need to recruit and staff up a labor force to handle the demand in the summer, and then you're going to have to lay off a bunch of that labor force when demand drops in the winter. At our company, we'll have sometimes 100+ painters working on job sites in the summer, and then we'll be down to some days where we might only have 15 or 20 guys working in the winter. This allows you to really rapidly scale up and scale down without having to ramp up all the recruiting and hiring of employees and training of employees and then laying them all off. So it allows you to scale, it allows you to capitalize on demand where other painting contractors might not be able to do that. So when the demand goes up, you can staff up more with subcontractors to be able to handle that demand. All right, so those are 5 reasons why subcontracting, but then people say, but Eric, what do customers say when someone else shows up to my job site wearing another company's logo? I say, well, no, that's not how subcontracting works. They don't show up to my job site wearing their logo. When they're on my job site, they're representing my company, and that's the deal, and that's the expectation, and they know it. If you're hiring a company that has their own wrapped van, that's not a subcontractor. That's a painting company who's subcontracting to fill their own gaps because they're not good at selling their own jobs. What we're looking for is people who know that they're in the subcontracting business, and when they're on my site, they're not representing any other company except for mine. Then people say, but Eric, what do you tell customers when they ask about whether you use employees or subcontractors? And I say, well, first of all, I tell them the truth. I'm not hiding anything here. But second of all, That never really comes up when I'm selling a paint job. Customers aren't asking me about like, do you use employees or subcontractors? And I always ask people, when you're selling a job, how do you talk about your guys? Do you say, my W-2 employees will be here at 9 o'clock every day? No, you don't say that. You say, my guys will be here at 9. And that's the same thing we say. Our guys will be here at 9. Our guys will do this. Our guys will do that, because our subcontractors are our guys. Some of our subcontractors have literally worked with us for a decade at this point. When we bring on new subcontractors, we're not bringing them on for a job. We're bringing them on for the long term, because we're a growing business and we want to keep them around and keep working with them. And that's how we're building our business. So these are our guys. We talk to them in the same way. And if a customer ever asks me point blank, do you guys use employees or subcontractors? I say, we use subcontractors. But all the subcontractors we work with have worked with us for a long time. We screen and vet them thoroughly. They all have experience and they're great guys, and they've all been working with us for a while. Do you have any concerns about that? And then they'll tell us what their concern is, and I'll alleviate it, because at the end of the day, whether I'm using employees or I'm using subcontractors, these are people. This is a people business, and I'm working with people. I might be paying them differently. We might have a contract that's a little different, but at the end of the day, they're people. I'm gonna deliver on my promises, and good people deliver on promises. And there's a lot of subcontractors out there that are really good people, really great painters, really great businessmen who do an amazing job for our clients. All right, number 2, now we're gonna talk about how to recruit great subcontractors, and this is super important. The way you recruit great subcontractors is the way you recruit any great people. So let's go through what that looks like. This process is gonna be the same whether you're recruiting employee painters, subcontractors, sales reps, project managers, office managers, etc. Anyone you're hiring in your business, this is basically the same process. First, you've got to make a great offer. All right, so if you want to attract great people, you got to make a great offer that attracts great people. So what's a great offer for subcontractors? Well, mostly what they're looking for is, I want to get paid well, I want to get paid on time, I want to have consistent work, I want to be set up to win by the business owner. Working for a disorganized business owner sucks. And finally, I want to be respected and cared for. I want to be treated like a human being. I want to be treated like a partner, because when you're working with a subcontractor, that's about as close to a real business partnership as it gets. So that's what they're looking for. That's how I'm gonna frame my offer. That is what I'm offering. And that's how I'm gonna write all my job postings and frame everything I'm doing in my sales process. I authentically want to pay them well, pay them on time, treat them really well, keep them busy with work, and I wanna set them up to win, because when I do that for them, they're gonna show up and perform for me, and that's how we have a win-win partnership that kicks ass for them, kicks ass for me, and when we have that, the customer gets a good experience too. So that's the first thing, is you gotta have a good offer that you're gonna back up. Number 2, you need to cast a wide net. All right, so now that we've got a good offer and we know what we're looking for, we've got to put a lot of lines in the water. There's a lot of places you can find great subcontractors. You can post ads on Craigslist, you can post ads on Facebook Marketplace, and you can just talk to painters, whether it's at the paint store, at a restaurant, when you see them in their neighborhood. One of the best crews I ever got, who still works with us to this day, was literally painting the condos in my neighborhood, and I just asked him if he's a subcontractor or employee of that company. He said he's a subcontractor. I asked if he'd be interested in working with anyone else, and now he works with us full time. So the key to casting a wide net is you need to post ads often. So the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make is they just don't post ads enough. And I tell people to post ads 2 times a day on Craigslist, post them on Facebook Marketplace every single day. You gotta stay top of mind and top of that list so that when people are looking, they're seeing your ad. All right, next, you gotta be super selective. So to do this, we wanna have an interview process. The interview process goes like this. People apply. I'm gonna nix some of the people just based on their applications. Once they apply, I'm gonna call them. If I don't really like these people when I'm talking to them on the phone, I'm not gonna work with them. Do the same thing with salespeople, do the same thing with project managers. If I don't like who I'm talking to on the phone, I'm not gonna take the next step with them. I wanna like them, I wanna be impressed by them. This is someone who's gonna work in my company, represent my company, and be an extension of me in my company. So I'm gonna be selective on the phone call. Then we're gonna meet in person. We're gonna do an in-person interview. At that interview, we're gonna ask a lot more questions and get to know them better. Once we do the in-person interview, then I'm gonna go check out their job sites. I wanna see what a job site looks like. I wanna show up at a random time to a random site and just see, is it clean? Does it look good? How's the house looking? That will make an impression on you. I also want them to go and check out one of the jobs that I have lined up and see if they wanna do the job. Once we've gotten this far in the process, I usually know if I wanna work with this person or not. And the thing that's unique about subcontractors compared to all these other positions in our company is you can do trial runs really easily because you're not staffing them up and training them. So you can say, hey, I think this sounds good. I think this is gonna be a win-win. Obviously it needs to be a win for you and it needs to be a win for me. So how about this? Let's do this first project together. This is what I can pay you on it. Sounds good? They say yes. Say, great, we'll do this first project together. If it goes well, we'll do another. If it goes well, we'll do another. And if we do a few of these together and we get the ball rolling, I'll have all the work that you ever need and we'll just keep going from there. Sound good? They say, cool. We do the first project. I show up to that job site every single day, 2 to 3 times a day, and I'm on it like a hawk, making sure they're doing a great job. I'm not gonna start them on the most complex job I have. I'm starting them on the most cookie cutter job I have that's hard to screw up. And then when they do a good job on that one, we'll do another one, and then another one. And over time, I'm gonna stop showing up as much, to the point where with a lot of our best subcontractors, we don't go to the sites at all anymore. They literally do the walkarounds with the clients, they collect the final payments, they get the reviews, they do the whole thing, which is what we're ultimately aiming for. All right, so that's how you recruit subcontractors. Now let's talk about how to retain subcontractors. This is how you keep the good ones working for you, because that's the name of the game. You don't wanna keep redoing this process over and over. So how do we keep great subcontractors? Well, this is really simple. We deliver on the offer. We pay them well, we pay them on time, we keep them busy with work, we set them up to win, and we respect and care for them like they're one of our people, because they are. And if you deliver on those 5 things for your subcontractors, or just your painters or your employees or anybody, you deliver on what you're offering and you really take care of people, they're gonna take care of you. And that's as simple as it is with keeping subcontractors running and retaining them to keep working for you. All right, last but certainly not least, maybe the most important thing, how do we develop winning long-term partnerships with subcontractors? The first thing we need to understand is that me and this subcontractor I'm working with have very different histories. I have a lifetime of work experiences, and my subcontractor has a lifetime of work experiences. To think that we're gonna be on the same page about how we work together, how we handle different situations, how we handle problems, what's acceptable behavior, what's not acceptable behavior. There's no way that you're perfectly gonna be matched up on every little circumstance and situation that can arise and will arise when working together. Clear? So we're not gonna be on the same page. And second point, there is no possible way that you could set expectations for every situation that is going to arise working together. So what does this mean? Well, it means there's gonna be problems. And what most people do when there's problems is they suck at dealing with problems and they get pissed at the person. So problem happens, subcontractor shows up late to a job, or subcontractor does this, or the guy you're working with does whatever, something happens, and you just get pissed at them because you have an expectation that they'll operate this way, they operated this way, and now you're pissed that they didn't operate the way you want them to operate, without realizing that you never set that expectation. And even if you did, it takes time to build and develop relationships and get on the same page. So here's what we do about this situation. The way we handle it is we basically have a one-strike policy, meaning every single time a situation comes up and there's a problem, if it's the first time this situation has come up, this is how we handle it. We say, look, man, that doesn't work. This is the problem it created for me. This is the problem it created for you. This is the problem it created for the customers. And that is not okay working with me. We can't work together that way, but all good. I'm gonna eat it on this one. I'm gonna cover the cost on this one. I'm gonna make it right on this one. Cool, because I understand we're developing our relationship together. So I'm gonna jump on the grenade this first time for you, but here's the deal. The next time this happens, this is how it's gonna go down. And you're gonna eat the cost. And if it keeps happening, we can't work together. So I'm gonna be benevolent and generous and take the responsibility the first time. They appreciate that, because I'm not unrealistic, I'm not unruly, I'm not a dictator, I'm not being a dick. I'm taking ownership, and I'm setting really crystal clear expectations for the next time, which is how we actually strengthen our relationship working together when we have problems and breakdowns. Now, if it happens again, we'll address it again, but next time they're gonna pay it because we set that expectation clearly and they're gonna understand. If it keeps happening, I can't work with them. So fundamentally, developing these really successful partnerships with your subcontractors happens over time, and the way your partnership gets stronger is when there's problems. So you don't get upset about the problems, you use them to get more on the same page, and over time, you end up with a really amazing partnerships with really amazing people, and that part of your business is now handled. The last thing we need to talk about here is deal breaker problems. So deal breaker problems are things like they do something egregious on your job site, right? Like something that is just totally unacceptable. We're done. They're done. If they ever steal a referral or a job from you, they're done, completely done. And people get concerned about that one because they say, well, what if we bring on subcontractors and they start stealing all my customers? I say, look, first of all, if you're really providing value to someone, you're really providing a valuable offer, you're paying them well, you're taking care of them, you're giving them consistent work, if they really value the relationship with you, they're not gonna do that. And so the only time people do that is when the one-time job opportunity is worth more than the relationship. Or said another way, they're willing to sacrifice your relationship for one project to make an extra $1,000 on one project or whatever it is. That's more of a reflection of you aren't really providing value in the relationship, so they don't care about it. But furthermore, if you have a subcontractor stealing work from you, they're gonna steal one job, they're cut off for good, you lose one job, and you lose that subcontractor and you start over. And all you need here, the punchline here is all you need is a few really great subcontractors and you have the ability to produce $1 million a year in business. You need a half a dozen to do $2 million a year in business. It doesn't take that many of these winning relationships to build an amazing workforce that delivers to your customers, that's on the same page with you and makes your life easier. So that's how you subcontract, that's how you do it right. That's how you take advantage of all the benefits and the amazing opportunities that exist with subcontractors. And just remember, at the end of the day, we are in a people business, and it doesn't matter who you're working with people. And when you're working with people, all you've got to do is take care of your people.